Man, from watching these compilations of things that people share with each other, there's one thing that kind of echoes for me. Um, and I get that we've been kind of corralled into needing entertainment. It's like an addiction. Um, and I'll even preface that to say that entertainment is subjective. Before all of this, before all of the things that we have gotten used to in this like kind of material plane, we had other forms of entertainment, right? Any kind of stimuli is technically entertainment. So I'm not saying that entertainment is bad, solely bad, or that it is always going to lead to negative things, negative shit. But our consciousness, our minds are being heavily like distracted. And I don't think I mean that in the way that people in these TikToks and YouTube videos mean, like, oh, everybody's paying attention to Diddy, it's a distraction. The shit that you're saying you're being distracted from is also a distraction. For instance, someone in one of the compilations I'm watching right now is like, the whole Diddy thing, the Diddy case, the disclosure on Diddy, all that's a distraction from the supposed object that's heading to the planet that's not an asteroid or a comet. It's like a ship, it's a ship. That's also a fucking distraction. You don't know that that shit's true, do you? Right? Just sit tight, man. None of this shit really matters. Like, just think of it this way: taking out all of the metaphysical and alchemic and philosophical shit that we all try to figure out for ourselves, what do you think you truly take with you when you leave this place? And that's not me saying you don't take any of it with you. It's me saying what is important to your soul and what is not, right? Is an object heading here important in the grand scheme of things? What's up? I'll objectively, it's not. It's not important if there's something heading here. It's not important what's in the sky, whatever the fuck the sky is. It's not important what people are doing on international space stations. It's not. None of this shit is important. Yes, we have to go through it. What's up, Just Eleanor? It's not important what we have to go through here. It sucks while we go through it. I'm not at all trying to diminish that or minimize that. It's just the beings that we refer to as masters and as ascended masters, the key to each of them is they realize that none of this shit matters. Go look into them. You will find that each one of them figured out different ways to maneuver this place, but they did not give a fuck about it. They didn't give a fuck about this place because it's a moment. It is a moment in your soul's existence. These bodies are not everlasting. Whether you believe that we reincarnate or we incarnate once or we incarnate in different places, it's all moments. So these things that beings are calling distractions and trying to get you to pay attention to another thing because it's more important, that's also a fucking distraction. Anything that is keeping you from paying attention to being at the vibration that you want to be at, that you see as positive, is a distraction. Diddy does not matter. Aliens on a grand scheme of things, don't matter until you see them, right? If you have them show up and show themselves to you and teach you about yourself and your soul, then that might be different. But currently, if most beings are truthful with themselves, they can say, I believe that there's more shit out there, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. That would be the truthful answer for most beings. Some people call them aliens, some people call them demons, right? These are subjective things, and they're just words that we use as placeholders for things that we don't really have too much experience with, or we just don't understand altogether. Do I believe that they are real energies or real beings? Yes. But do I have direct experience with them? Kinda. You know? Like if you, for instance, have a dream that feels different than another dream, and there's a being there that seems to understand the situation that you are in, the experience that you are in more than you do, then it's very likely to say that that is some sort of energy that is utilizing that space to try to teach you something or show you something or manipulate you or whatever the fuck. But main point being, there are a lot of corners telling you things that they view as objective that are not objective. There isn't very much here that is objective as far as what's being broadcast to us on a constant basis, especially those that are talking about distractions. It's all a distraction. This physical body is a distraction. You can use it as a learning tool, but we get so swept up in these physical bodies that we get lost and forget that we are more than this. We're more than this body. Even science recognizes that. There aren't many scientists left that say that this is just an organic suit, and when we expire, there's nothing left. Most sciences don't believe that anymore. The forefront of physics is talking about observer theory and souls and quantum physics. These are all things that are trying to explore what this is, which includes what we are. Do I believe in ghosts? I don't know that I would call them that. I think that when you leave your body, you don't, dying is not absolute. So if people want to call that ghosts, that's fine. It's the same principle as what I said about aliens, like we don't know that that's what those are. We don't know that demons are what people believe them to be. We don't know any of that shit. These are all just stories we've passed along from generation to generation to give explanations for things that scare us, for things that interest us, for things that we, as a society, not me personally, but choose to worship. These are all just us not feeling comfortable with not knowing, which I fully get. I definitely understand that. I want to know too. But I feel like the difference between a lot of us and a lot of them is that we're maybe more willing to say out loud, I don't know. I don't know. You sure are telling me a lot of things and saying that they're for sure or they're true, but I personally don't know. And we may get wrapped up in specific labels like aliens and demons and angels and gods and all of these things. We don't know if any of that is exactly what it's purported to be. We don't know any of that. I don't know. I feel like it's important for as many souls as possible to try to remember that. This place is not the end all. This is not the only realm that we can exist. Same thing there. There's a lot of talk about like realms and dimensions or quantum realms or levels of existence. That's just us starting to understand that this is not the only place. This is not the only place, and this is not the only version of existence that we can experience. And the reason I feel so sure about that are dreams. If you've been a part of my channel, this channel, for a while, you know that a big part of what we study and what we are interested in is dreams. It's such a different experience, but it feels just as real as existing here, depending on how intense your dreams are. You know? So, I don't know, man. I just feel like all that stuff about Diddy and debates and voting and economical situations, like, yes, we feel those things because our material bodies are having to deal with the repercussions of them, but they are all distractions when you break this down to brass tacks. When you get down to the root of what you are, this shit won't matter anymore after you leave. It's not going to matter. You're not going to give a fuck about who you voted for in 2024 or 2025. You're not going to give a fuck about something that someone says is coming toward this realm and we don't know what it is. It's not a comet, it's not an asteroid. Or if there are two moons in the sky, we're not going to give a fuck about any of that when we leave here. And it can be entertainment. There's nothing wrong with it being entertainment, not by any means. It's very interesting to watch people like react to it and seeing how people interact with these bits of information and you know, hypotheses that people share with each other. But it doesn't need to be something that you become so invested in that you become fearful. That's my main point, I guess. Fear is not the answer ever. Like, it's just kind of the worst kind of energy to me, because fear leads to malevolence, it leads to violence, it leads to you know, lots of ugly, ugly things. I'm just kind of kicking it, you know, just kicking it. And as cheesy as it sounds at this point, because I've heard so many, you know, fake opportunists say this, but I am just kind of kicking it, observing, just watching and seeing what happens. It's very freeing in a way. And it's definitely a balance. It feels like you have to figure out a way to like continue without neglecting your fucking meat suit. But I'm not really too invested in any of this shit, man. To be honest with you, I just don't see the point in being that invested in most of it. Um, we have a central nervous system that's connected to a brain that releases chemicals that make us feel very, very connected to certain things. That's very obvious, and it would be kind of ridiculous and somewhat creepy for you to completely disconnect from that. But again, it's a balance. Finding the way to like not be so invested or so emotionally invested in specific things, I feel like is the move, you know? Um, it makes things a lot less impactful on your well being. Um, the distractions don't have to be negative things. A lot of them can teach you things. I guess one of my points is just like becoming too invested or believing something too much can lead you down a path of like moving away from understanding self. Because if you really think about it, the only thing that is tangibly real from like I guess a alchemy standpoint is you. Like your understanding of what this place is and what we're doing here and all that shit can be changed in in a moment. That's why I liked the three body problem so much. Some entertainment there for you. The three body problem. All of those physicists started killing themselves because they were like, if I'm wrong, if I'm this wrong about what this place is and how it works, then I just don't want to be here. That's kind of goofy to me. Like, my understanding of this place has changed uh, numerous times, and I don't really see the point in giving too much of a fuck about that. Especially if it's not proven. If it's just a bunch of people saying some shit, then I don't see the reason to invest that much energy into it. You know, just doesn't seem worthwhile to do that. We can find ways to entertain ourselves. We can try to hone capabilities as some very close to me people do. Infinite is one person, one being that um, entertains himself by trying to remember. That's what I call it. Trying to remember, trying to hone things that a lot of us have stories of brief touches with. You know, active dreaming, telekinesis, like, I don't know about any of that shit, but I do know it would be entertaining if I felt the urge to like start trying to hone or make those things more active in my life, in my existence, in my experience, in the current whatever the fuck that is. I just kind of don't care. I think I'm more just observing to see what. It's like a big question, you know? I just kind of view this all as a big question, and so far, what I'm noticing is these distractions are also being kind of veiled as answers, but they're very, very like temporary answers. And it just keeps being replaced. Each temporary answer keeps getting replaced with a new temporary answer. Think about how many people were like, oh, we're about to get disclosure, alien disclosure. Meanwhile, you have not seen any of those things yourself. And even if we did, what is an alien other than a word? Right? Like, they themselves, the people that are doing the disclosures and shit, have already like splintered into these different cells of explanations of what these things are. Some of them call them aliens, some of them call them angels, some of them call them time machines, some of them call them non-human biologic transportation. Like, it's that is an example of us not knowing shit. We don't know shit. It's just not necessary for us to put so much into feeling like we know for sure what all of these things are. Which to me, kind of, like I said, lends itself to being entertainment. So, I don't know. I just thought that maybe someone would get something from that. I definitely did. It's not necessarily something new to me or the way that I view this place, but sometimes it's good to have like a reminder, you know? I'm gonna dip and keep researching. So hopefully you have a good experience wherever you are doing whatever it is you're doing. I love you.